Welcome to the MS Gym podcast, where we give you the tools to live life by design, not by diagnosis. I'm your host, Brooke Slick, and here we go. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the second episode of our interview with actress Jamie-Lynn Sigler. In this episode, we pick up where we left off when I asked Jamie if she'd experienced a postpartum relapse of her MS. We also discussed Jamie's MS mom guilt and how she makes vacationing with young children easier. Also in this episode, she shares her experience with Coach Trevor and the hope that his advice has given her. We finish out this intriguing interview by touching on Jamie's diet choices, as well as what and how she uses cannabis for spasticity. You're not going to want to miss this. Moving on to, you mentioned your family. I definitely want to talk about your kids. You have two young boys. Mm-hmm. They are 4 and your older one
will be 9 on Sunday.
Oh, adorable. Now, a lot of women who have MS during a pregnancy, they're relieved of their symptoms. It's just it's a hormonal thing. They don't know exactly what. There are studies about it in Europe, like I think last year, the year before. Did you experience that? And then unfortunately, afterwards, a lot of women have a relapse.
Right.
Did you, before you became pregnant, did you know about all that?
Yes.
Did you experience it? And
yeah, I had known, like I was told, I think when I was like originally diagnosed, I remember my old neurologist saying, but you can have babies, you can get, he was trying to tell me that this wasn't like a death sentence. Like You can live a very long, healthy, full life. You'll have children. In fact, when you're pregnant, most women go into a bit of remission. So I did know about it. My first pregnancy. So for me, a lot of my symptoms, other than like bladder issues, were never relapse remitting. It was always like just kind of like this really slow progression. So it was hard for me to necessarily feel like I was in remission from it, but I did feel a lot of energy, more energy than usual. Like I remember walking up and down the hill with taking my dog for a walk every day. Like I felt great. I was one of those weird people that really enjoyed being pregnant. Yeah. It was a really nice time for me. The second time around, maybe not as much. I think I was also taking care of a toddler at the time, so it was different. I was also older. I think the disease had progressed a little bit more. I didn't necessarily have any expectations, so I wasn't like massively disappointed, but I didn't feel any relief the second time around. Post baby, both times, hormonally was like a mess for me, like postpartum depression up the wazoo, issues with nursing, but that's like normal mom stuff, every mom, a lot of women feel this post baby. I think the way it's like really limited me since becoming a mom is just like the things I can and can't do with my kid.
Right.
And my older one, I think I had a little bit more ability with him when he was younger versus my second one's life. But, he's never known me any other way. And he's so compassionate and helpful and wonderful. And, I think I have had sadness about having to hand them off to do activities with other people when I want to. Absolutely. Like, I want to be the one to run with him on the beach. I want to be the one to carry him when he's hurt. I want to be the one to take him on a hike, things like that I can't. And it breaks my heart every time. But at the same time, I don't want to limit his life because of my own limitations. Right now I'm dealing with my 4-year-old he's just trying to understand. So like, for instance, the other day we were driving in the car and he was like, "Mama, Cash's mommy can run." Oh. And I said, "Oh, she can?" He goes, "Yeah, I saw her run across the street. Why can't you?" Oh. I know. And it's just, he's not upset or mad. It's just an observation and it breaks my heart.
Right.
And every time he'll say like, why are you going to the doctor again? I'm like, well, my answer is always like, mommy's trying to get better. Mommy would love to try to run with you one day. And so I'll come back from a doctor's appointment and he'll be like, can you run now?
Oh,
I know, but
crushing.
I think
Absolutely crushing.
it's heartbreaking, but I try not to focus too long on what I can't do, and I try to focus on what I can. And I know I am the best mom I can be to them. I am emotionally available in any moment that they need. I have mom guilt at times where, there's days that I'm not feeling great or I'm physically struggling, and then my patience is more thin. Like sometimes I'll sit and wonder, like, would I have been better in that situation if I wasn't physically struggling? Which
Exactly.
is like the only time I get angry, I think, about it, or like resentful about it, because I feel like I could have made a better choice if I wasn't dealing with this right now.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Oh,
Like,
I completely understand.
yeah.
I question myself as well with my granddaughter. And it sounds like my husband is a great partner in that he knows that I feel the exact same way you do. When she wants to run, she wants me to play soccer with her. Come on, play soccer. I can't play soccer. But my husband can. So he's always filling in the gap. But something that he does that's always surprises me, because it's not like I say, make sure that you pump her up about me too. I never say that to him, but just on a rare moment, he'll be like, oh, Gigi made that for you. She made that specially for you before you woke up today. Or just little gaps that he fills, making sure while he's doing this fantastic thing with her that she's like, oh, I love you, Pappy. This is so fun. He'll be like, well, Gigi did this for you. And he always makes sure to bring up whatever I had done. And it sounds like you have a fantastic partner in your.
I do. He does similar things for sure. Like your husband. He does. And I'll find, like, even my kids, because they'll pick up and they'll hear things that he says. Like every once in a while, if we're out and about and walking around, like my older son will look at me and be like, you just walked really good, Mom. Like they've become, they're very aware. They pick up, and if anything, I'll notice, like, my kids' friends, or if I go to school and I bring my walking stick out with me, if it's hot, or if I have more distance to walk, like, kids stare. It's different. They're not used to seeing that. And I totally get it. But my kids, like, whenever we're out, if they ever see anybody that's in a wheelchair or has a cane or anything, like, they don't think twice. Like, it's just, it's not judge, but they're not shocked by it. They don't think about it. If anything, they're just more conscious of other people and differences. And so I try to look at, like, the gifts that it could be giving them, as opposed to, like, the things that it's taking away.
Absolutely. I do the same thing. Even if we're watching TV, even cartoons now incorporate people in wheelchairs. I love it. Yeah. And I always say to Liv, I'm like, see, oh, they have a wheelchair. Look how cool that is. She can do whatever too. Or, I always make it like it's a positive thing.
I think, I was driving my son to school the other day, and I was looking at all the kids playing in the playground, and I just was thinking, what I have to deal with now, where I have to, like, extract myself from certain situations that I physically couldn't do, that I want to do. Like, whether my girlfriends are like, we're all going to this flea market on Sunday morning. Do you want to come? And I'm like, yeah, I do. But I just know that I can't walk the whole thing. It's going to be too hard. And I don't want to slow anyone down. I cannot imagine what it must be like for a child, to have to feel like so different and not part of something, or not be able to do what they're seeing other kids do. Like, as an adult, like, it still sucks, but, like, you can talk your way through it emotionally and everything. And it's like we talked about, it's just given me so much more compassion and perspective. But hearing things like, what we were talking about too, about more representation in film and television, so that we can continue to see the world and people as all different.
Have you read Julie Stamm's book called Some Days?
Mm-mm.
It's awesome. It's a child's book. She's your age, I believe. She's from Brooklyn and she just moved to Colorado. She has a son who's 6. And last year she came out with a book. It's called Some Days. We had her on the podcast and it's really cool. I think your sons are of a good age for it. She wrote it in honor of her son. She has MS. And it's just really cool.
I'm going to look for it.
Yeah. So I think it's just neat how, like, for instance, one of the things in the book is how when they're out and about in New York City or wherever, they play this game called Spot the Potty. Well, because I know from my other experience, I'm like, now hold on, just where the restrooms, as long as I know where they are.
That's right.
Where they are.
I know. Well, it would match up good. It matched up good for me when my son was like 2 or 3 and like just potty training, because we always had to be very aware of where a potty was. So it worked out for me for a long time.
That's a good one. But anyway, Jody, do you have any questions?
I do. I find it so encouraging what you're saying, because I know so many of our members go through the same thing that you do. They feel like they're a burden. They feel like perhaps they're like a bad mom, and that it's such a common feeling with MS and obviously any kind of chronic disease. But, whether it's obviously not by choice, but so often, we put celebrities kind of in a different ballpark and a different range, like couldn't possibly understand what it is we go through. And yet so many of the things that you're saying, so many of the things that you're living out are exactly what we do. And it feels like it's leveling the playing ground, right? It's like Brooke was saying, like MS is no discriminator. And to hear you talk about so many of the feelings that we have, and it's encouraging to hear about how you've managed, from wanting to be hidden in secret, because that's a huge thing in the MS community, right? We hide it as long as we can, and we end up being a prisoner because we don't want to find out, and feeling that freedom when you finally let it go. And it's so encouraging to hear your journey, and just even how your recent job, how they're so willing to accommodate you. It's incredible. And I think, again, this whole idea of being a burden, so often we read about in the MS community, is that they feel unworthy and that people won't make the effort to go that extra mile for them. So again, it's awesome to hear that you have people in your life that are willing to do that. And I hope that for those that listen to the podcast with MS, that they will realize too that they have a lot of worth and value, that does not suddenly demean them or take away their worthiness of love and support. So I just appreciate you being so honest and open about your experiences.
Oh, well, thank you. And for everything that you said, it resonates with me too. I think it had to be literally like shoved down my throat by my friends at one point, being like, you are not a burden to us. Like, you bring value when you come to the room. Like, we love you. And it's just, it took me a really long time to accept that and realize that. And I've been very fortunate to have like a great group of people around me, but that's like not just because of what I do for a living or these, types of experiences I had. That's accessible to anybody. I think I think I can tend to like not want to talk about things with people because I don't think that they'll understand. I also don't want pity. I don't want it to feel like it's always the topic of conversation, but therapy, I went without it for a very long time, is very important and necessary, I think, especially when you're dealing with something like this. But realizing my friends and I have like found a lot of commonality and just things we each struggle with. Like, they may not have MS, but like just talking, it's just life. Life is hard. Life is hard for everyone. There's good and bad and light and dark and hard and easy for everybody. And so if anything, I've found that being open and vulnerable creates a space for other people to be that as well. And it's just kind of like what life's all about, is like connecting, and it's really allowed me to connect with everybody in my life at a much deeper level. And that's one of the reasons that I'm like most grateful for it.
I always say the gift of MS, the communication, the community is the gift of MS.
Yeah.
It's one thing you're not expecting. You don't go into it thinking it'll ever happen, but all of a sudden you have these people from all over the world, especially now with social media. I mean, we all have friends from all over the world that we've never met in person, but I truly feel have become close allies, and
that's beautiful.
A support system that, you know, you can completely trust. I'm going to switch this back for a second to children. How do you manage vacationing? Mm-hmm. How do you manage vacationing with young children and having like parks or zoos or wherever? How do you do it?
Well, God, it's hard. It's really, really, really hard. And it's gotten like harder over the years. I mean, obviously like the pandemic over the past couple of years, we haven't vacationed much, but like if we go to a Disneyland or Disney World, I'll get like one of those little scooters, because it's just how I can like be more comfortable around the park. And like, I don't have to slow anyone down, and we're moving and hustling. My kids take turns sitting on my lap. They love it. Yeah. You know, that's what we do. You know, like hotel wise, I like to, like, I used to be a lot easier when I had my stroller, because like my kids were in strollers, I could push them around. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But now that I don't have that, like we just try to go to like smaller hotels. Like these bigger resorts are just harder for me. I mean, we can get there and we do it. And I've had to have like the hard conversation with my husband a lot of time, where he's like, you got this, Jamie, you could do it. We're helping you. And I'll tell him like, but it's hard for me, and that's not a vacation for me. So we need to figure out a place, whether it's a more boutique hotel or a smaller thing, because I also want to have a vacation. I don't want to like grit my teeth and get through like the 20 minutes it took me to get to the pool. Then I'm in there with the kids exhausted, and then have to like, and it's hot, and then like walk all the way back. Like that's not, when we get home and we're like, that was a great time. And I'm like, but it was really hard for me. That's not worth it. So I hate, one of the things that I mourn or I get really sad about, or I just like pray that one day I'll be able to do, though, is like, as my kids get older, I really want to travel with them. And I really want to like take them to Europe and like go all over the world. And, you know, the thought that I wouldn't be able to do that or do that in the way that I want to makes me really sad. Like there's like things that you just think about. They're like, oh, I really wish I could have this experience that I really might not be able to have. Right.
But you might not be able to have it in the way you wish you could have it.
Of course.
You can do it differently.
For sure.
We see that so much. And the more people I follow who are doing exactly that, they're traveling all over the world.
I need to follow those people, though.
I am telling you, there's a woman in particular that I follow. I'll look it up and I'll send it to you. I'll DM it to you.
Okay, perfect. I will read it now. I promise. I won't miss it.
But she's raised her kids, having a scooter, using a scooter for everything and everywhere. And she goes to these fabulous places and, shoots pictures of her with her scooter or standing by her scooter. And she's living large. And I'm like, I want to be you.
Yeah. Great.
So it can be done. It's just, like I said, it has to be done differently.
Yeah.
It is what it is. You want to sit back and boo-hoo it about the fact that you can't do it the way that we did it when we were, 15. But it is what it is.
Yep.
So now let's get down to the good stuff. You had you're in talks with Trevor.
Yes.
Deanna's Gym. Tell me what you think so far.
So I mean, I was blown away. You think you've lived with something for 21 years and you understand it and you get it and you you know why, and the whys and the how, and you know your body better than anyone. And we sat on this Zoom, and all I told him was what I live with, what I struggle with, how I have to compensate, this and that. And he was like, oh yeah, it's this, and this. And you know when something resonates as the truth, like you feel it in your whole body. And I was like, oh my God, I feel like I have been given the handbook of information I have been waiting for. I told him, I was like, I have so much hope about what we can do together. He sat and had me do these, like, we've realized so much of my issues are in my diaphragm, which is causing me to have no access to my psoas, and then my back, and then making my balance, because I don't have vision issues, but I actually do, because my proprioception's affected, which is making me feel like I can't do the movement because I don't know where I am in space. It's not my weakness. It's not my strength. It's that. And I'm like mind blown, because here I am like sweating it through physical therapy and in the gym and this, trying to get my legs stronger when it has nothing to do with my leg strength. It's all my brain. He had me do this deep breath thing. And next thing I know, I was like lifting my leg higher. And that was like 2 minutes. Yeah. So I am so blown away by his passion, his knowledge. I'm so excited for like this journey with him and what's to come with MS Gym. Again, like you think like 21 years, like you know it all. And I just feel like I've known nothing, and I'm just starting, and I'm so encouraged. And I'm just excited. Like I have realistic goals, and then I have unrealistic goals, and I have no doubt that we'll fall somewhere in between them, you know? And I think that he has this like infectious like energy, but that's like really genuine.
Yeah.
And he cares.
And he never goes away. He's always like that.
I can feel that. And this the passion, he reminds me of my neurologist in a way where like he cares so much. And I think when people have like intentionality and compassion and like that level of care behind anything, like the sky's the limit. So I feel so grateful that I'm like beginning this journey with him.
Wonderful. Well, we're excited about that. Maybe at some point we'll have you back to see what you're doing.
We'll share it for sure. For sure.
You're so right. When you say, when you live with it for so long, you think you know you could take a quiz and get all the questions right about MS. You know all the answers, but not really.
Nope.
Not really.
Nope.
All the underlying stuff you really don't know, but Trevor does.
He does. He's devoted his life to it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So we're excited to have you as part of our MS Gym family.
Thank you.
But Jody, do you have any more questions for Jamie before we let her go, as our time is winding down?
I am just curious about whether Jamie's adopted any kind of lifestyle with diet.
I haven't, but I've tried them all. I think though I've never really gone into any of those like rigid, strict diet plans with the right mentality, because I get like resentful that I'm like already having to deal with this and then like not eat anything I like, or like you have to be like meal prep everything. Like it just felt really overwhelming and too much. So I think that for me, I just really try to be kind to myself. I'm health conscious. I'm conscious about what I put in my body, but I hate the word, but it's truly where I live, in moderation. I make sure I get a lot of protein. I'm up on making sure that I have vitamin D and my Bs and my omegas. But I'm not crazy about it. I'm not obsessed with it. I'm not a slave to it, which is good or bad. I don't know, but it's what's working for me. It's what's allowing me to feel as normal as possible. It doesn't make me feel so restricted, because for me, I just found that when I was living really restricted and then already and living in a body that's like rigid and restricting me, it just felt like I wasn't enjoying my life at all. So That being said, like if somebody tells me like, Jamie, this is bad for you, or Jamie, this is good for you, I will try to eliminate it or try to incorporate it. But I don't, I see the miracles that happen for some people, but for me, I just haven't found anything particularly that's like worked in that way, or it's worked into my life. Maybe that could change. I don't know. But for right now, no.
Is there anything that is there like a particular kind of food that you eat and afterwards you find that you're more lethargic, or maybe your symptoms flare a little more because of it? Or
I do well when I have a lot of protein. My body does well like with a lot of protein. Like I do eat a lot of like red meat, eggs. It's just I do well with a lot of protein. Like my body looks better, it feels better. Sugar is the enemy. Sugar is what I love the most. I get it. I also I've gotten way better at my water intake. I used to, because of bladder issues, like really restrict my water, which is obviously counterintuitive, but
we all do it.
But then again, I still have incontinence when I'm not drinking water. So I realized it like doesn't even matter. Right. It's more important because then when I'm dehydrated, I'm more rigid, I get more crampy. So like it's you know that whole ride that you go on.
Yeah.
So I really try to drink more water, and I've gotten way better at that. And I just have to be careful of like stimulants, like too much coffee, like anything like that. It like anything that like ramps my body up is just not good for me. I need to be as calm as possible. Cannabis helps me a lot with my spasticity at night. Like for me, where I can kind of like let go of my body in the day, that has been given me a lot of relief.
In what form do you take it?
So I don't really like edibles because I feel like you never know when it's going to hit you. It's hard to like dose more. I just do flower. I'll take like one small hit of a joint a night, and that's like all I need. And it just kind of like relaxes my body. I sleep a lot better. Again, this is just for me. I've found that, I don't drink alcohol. I never have. It allows me to sort of release my day. All of like, my shoulders are up to here by the end of the day. It just kind of allows me to kind of take my reprieve, and then my legs are much less spastic at the end of the day.
Cool. All right. Well, Jamie, we cannot thank you enough for coming on. As I said, incredibly excited for you to have met Trevor.
Me too.
The magic of Trevor, and to be part of the MS Gym family. And we wish you all the best and much success.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure. So nice to meet you.
Have a great rest of your day.
Bye.
Bye-bye. If you'd like to know more about the MS Gym, you can find them at themsgym.com, on Instagram, and on Facebook. If you'd like to know more about what I've been up to lately, you can find me on Instagram and at brookslick.com. We'll see you on the next episode.